Hey besties, let's throw some shade, honey. You ready to get into it? These sisters, oh gosh, wow. Just, oh my goodness. We got to get into it, besties. So much, so much. But I'll tell you this, they all need to grow up. Every last one of them. They all need to grow up, or Miss Evelyn gonna be burying some more of her kids. Yeah, toxic. Well, welcome, besties. You are now behind the shade, and thanks for joining me. I recap your favorite reality shows weekly. Oh, excuse me. Now let's kiki and haha and get into another episode. It's the Braxtons, season 2, episode 4. Where did we go wrong? You went wrong a long time ago, Braxtons, and you guys are, but the story doesn't begin with you guys. Um, yeah, it's deep rooted and it's trickling, generational curses possibly. Yeah, we'll get into that. But how would you rate this week's episode, besties? Uh, for the Braxtons and the fighting, it just has to be come see, come saw for me. I'm not thumbs down and or thumbs up in this mess. But I want you to drop down in the comments and let me know what you think. Please like the video, make sure you subscribe to my channel, and make sure your notification bell is on so that you know each and every time I post my content. Now I'm gonna take my time with this because I am just overwhelmed. And we're gonna get into it. So the episode continues from last week. And Tamar wants to know which one of you broads, and she was calling Tawanda all kind of HOs and BIs. Baby, honey, let me tell you about me. Okay, okay. Keep calling me out my name. I dare. Keep calling me out my name. Keep calling me out my name, boo boo. Huh. Huh. That's all I'm gonna say. I am not here to condone violence. But when you calling me out my name, you are already starting with the violence. Okay. So yeah, there's that. So let's just unpack that. You just have no respect for her. But there's reasons why, you know, this is a very we're gonna get into it. So Tamar wanna know which one of these broads then gave that man her address. Here go Trina. He's called an attorney. Shut up, Trina. Shut up. I want to know who gave that man my address. I know y'all don't care about me, but my son. I pay a lot of money for security for me and my son. Woo! Trina says, well, if you read it, you will see that my name ain't on the paperwork. Okay, Trina, but how do you know your name not on the paperwork? How do you know that your name is not on the paperwork? You can assume because you think you didn't do anything or you ain't got a skin in the game, but are you sure your name ain't on the paperwork, sweetheart? So Tamar goes into how, remember, I know you don't know where I live, Tawana, because you ain't been over, but I know where you live because I gave you $50,000. Uh-huh. And I'm like, 50 G's. Remember last week, Tamar said she put her down payment down for Tawanda. So Tamar explains that the bank, the lender, wanted to see the cash in Tawanda's account, and Tawanda wasn't getting her check in time. So Tamar gave her the $50,000. Tawanda says that she ain't asked Tamar for nothing. Tamar was happy to gift her $35,000. And this was back in 2018. But I'm gonna give y'all a little tidbit. Remember when Tamar was saying how you put me down as a lender? Remember she said that? Well, what happened was Tawanda filed for bankruptcy. Yep, she filed for bankruptcy and she added Tamar as a creditor so she wouldn't have to pay her back. So, no, Tawanda, now we know that that was not a gift. If it was 35,000 or 50, neither one of them was a gift. You were supposed to get your money back in a couple of days and give your sister back her money. Then I just And then Tawanda's like, because that's just how we are do as sisters. Well, what have you done as sisters, Tawanda? Because you act brokey. You give brokey vibes. Filing for bankruptcy, they ain't got a job, don't have nothing going on. You have plenty of time to have something going on, Tawanda. I mean, and like my big sister says, she said this yesterday. She said Tawanda needs to get a job. Don't she have a degree? She needs to get a job. So Tamar says, now that this little accident has happened, talking about this cease and desist letter, she says, now that this little accident has happened, pay me back my money. It was not a gift. It was a gift. No, it wasn't. Now Tamar tells us she was trying to go get another line added to her cell phone bill or change her number, and she finds out that Tawana got a whole family plan on her account, and Tamar been paying her phone bills for the last 4 years. I was like, so that's what she meant when she said that Tawanda was stealing from her. And Tawanda didn't deny. She didn't confirm. She didn't deny. You've been using my credit card, your phone bill for 4 years. Tawanda, you a little sneaky, dirty dog. We get it. Tawanda does not like Tamar. And Tamar, you just need to get over it. You need to just move on from it, girl. That girl is not ready to resolve. Just go heal and stop telling all her business. Because at the end of the day, y'all are sisters. Have some respect. They can do some dirt because I would feel salty about you stealing from me and giving you money. I mean, yeah, money don't break us up, honey. Money don't change some things. But yeah. So so Tawanda swears she know where the bodies are buried and she accuses Tamar of sleeping with two of Tony's men. Now, somebody has said last week that they blur out the names, and somebody told me it was Tawanda said Birdman, and I'm like, nah, she didn't say that. But I'm gonna tell you when it happened. Tamar said it later on, and that's how Tony got activated when she said her current husband's name, and that's when Tony got up. I was like, girl, if you don't sit down. So Tamar calls. So Tawanda sprays the names. I think it was two. Tamar called Tawanda a dirty, low down ASSB. And she said, oh, he told me he F you. So they go back and forth and back again about who this man has slept with. And I'm like, well, who is it? And two things could be right. Two things could be true. Maybe he slept with both of y'all. Then besties after the verses, I saw them talking about Tamar used to, was messed with Birdman back in '03. And I'm sitting here like, people just be clickbaiting. People just be putting anything out. That's why you really got to pay attention to your source. Okay, so Tamar is cussing Tawanda out. And I can't even believe that I would even remember that Tamar curses. But to hear her, oh my gosh, it's just like, oh, this is just bad. It's just bad. Okay, so Tony is like telling Tamar to STFU. She like, shut the up. We're sisters. We don't do this ghetto stuff. Tamar goes into saying how she has been diagnosed with depression and anxiety because of these sisters. Whew. Wow. And she says you know, and then I'm like, well, okay, but stick to the cease and desist and your business is being affected because what does your mental health have to do with the cease and desist letter? Like, I need to hear you speak more of Ashley. I need you to speak up for her because remember, you are using your platform to help her heal. And Bessie's, I'll let you know this. Ashley went to Tamar and asked Tamar, could she come on her podcast? So let's not keep blaming Tamar so much. Of course, she's going to say yes. I believe that she's trying to be there for her niece because she's gone through it, the same thing, even worse, because Ashley's trauma is just words. Not to say it's any less, but Tamar was, handled with the trauma. So she wants to be there for her niece because no one was there for her. They had to they shushed her. And then I think that's why Tamar acts the way she does because they allowed her to act like this. Okay. And we all know that, well, this didn't work out. Y'all should have handled it. Stop shushing stuff. So people think, a lot of read comments, a lot of people think Tamar doing it for personal gain. And she could be doing both. I mean, it could be true that she wants to be there and support her niece. Why wouldn't she? I mean, Tamar is a lot of things, but why can't she be passionate? She's a Pisces. What we gonna do? We gonna feel empathy. We gonna sympathize with you. We gonna feel what you feel. And she's an aunt, and she could still be going through her depression and still could be a good auntie. Hello. So that's all. I would like to hear more about. And you don't hear Tamar referencing Ashley in anything, but at the same time, going back to what first episode when this all came out, not one auntie said anything in Ashley's defense or anything. Tawanda over there telling Trina that she's a victim. You don't hear them rallying for the niece. They didn't come to the podcast. I know. They wanted it to, stop. But I had a subscriber, hey bestie, tell me that, it was Michael that sent it. We know that. But I believe that it was just more than Michael. Why is Tamar coming to the sisters if it was just Michael? I'm sure Tamar called that attorney on that paperwork and knows who all is involved. And when you want to think about it, why would Michael send a cease and desist letter to shut Tamar up about Ashley, about allegedly Gabe? He's not defending Gabe. I think he's protected himself from something. Clock that T. If you are paying attention to my recaps, you already know what I've said. Maybe the first episode or the second that I come to the conclusion that Michael ain't innocent. There's a reason why he's trying to shush and not come on the show and not getting involved. Like, he always pop up once or twice. He ain't popping up for this at all. And this is about his daughter. He's hiding something. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to move on. So then Tony is telling Tamar that she's the mean girl. And she said, this family supports you. You're in the situation you're in, the depression and the anxiety because of you. So in this moment, I feel like Tony is gaslighting Tamar. Like, don't do that. Her issues are deep. They coming from someplace else, is displaced. And now you're trying to point your finger at her in this moment because you're mad they bringing up your exes on TV. So Tamar said, y'all don't like me because y'all jealous of me. Yeah, them have-nots are. Trust me. Trina, yes, she was sitting there quiet, but baby, them facial expressions was not quiet. She was nonverbal, but her face said a lot. It says a lot. And then she gonna tell us in her confessional, I don't throw rocks and hide my hands. Well, why are you even saying that? Because if you don't, that wouldn't even have came up. That's like me saying, oh, I didn't unalive 18 people. Why would I say that? if I don't do it. If I didn't do it, if I wasn't thinking of it, I wouldn't say it. So for you to say that's not what you do, bingo, that's what you do. Because a person that does it wouldn't even said that. Matter of fact, if you was quiet with good intentions, you wouldn't have to say nothing in your confessionals, ma'am. So y'all jealous of me. And Tamar said, everybody here got mental illness. I was like, woo. She said, yeah, and you need to get on Lexapro. I take 20 milligrams. Y'all need to get on it because it's making me feel real good. And Tony has something to say about that. And then Tony tells Tamar that she could have more houses, but instead she didn't be paying. She pays her publicist all this money to have Tamar's back. Because, Tamar was telling Tony, you don't have my back in this. She said, baby, I be paying my publicist big money to defend you on social media because you always running social media for everything, and Tony got to come and clean up everything. And so Tony said in her confessionals, Tamar is okay with being infamous instead of being famous. I was like, that was a word. That was a word, baby. What? Say that again. Run it back. Tamar is, she rather be infamous than famous. Woo-wee. So Tony and Tamar go back and forth and back again about Ashley coming on the show versus, Tamar's show being called a chicken circuit or chitlin circuit. Did she say chitlin or chicken? Chitlin, right? And I'm like, wow, Tony. Bang, bang, pow, pow. Why? Wow. Why and why? Wow and why, Tony Braxton? Tony Michelle Braxton. Talking about there's a difference between Tony Braxton and Tony Michelle. And I wanted to say, hold on, y'all. Hold on, let me slow down. So Tamar asked Tony, does she think she said, well, do you think I effed Birdman too? Tamar, you lose your power because of that mouth. Your message is correct, but your delivery is always not correct. And delivery is half the battle. It's a few things that Tamar said that was just way too much. Just way too much. And calling Tawanda a HO and a B and a low. Ooh, and then now asking Tony, do you think I did it to your husband? That's when Tony Michelle came onto the scene. And I was like, Tamar, did you take your meds today? What made you say that? And then just to come from last weekend on the Versus, she on the stage wiping his forehead and his head and bigging him up, and everybody was just all up in arms about it. And in my opinion, that's her brother. You can wipe his head if he's sweating to death. I mean, if he's sweating, yeah, wipe his head. But maybe you should have just gave him a towel. Maybe give him another towel. But I'm like that. I'm gonna take care of my family. Don't you see? You no, too much. Then we were talking about the phone call after the show. Remember, he called Tony, and Tamar just add extra. She and hey, Tony Braxton, and you kind of, if you were paying attention, Tony wasn't really talking to Tamar. And Tamar said, oh, my brother bought you that that new house. And Birdman is just like, oh, you're so beautiful, my queen, my love. You're so beautiful. You look great. And little sister, hey, I'm brand new house you in. That's my brother bought you that new house. Okay. So Tony Michelle was like, don't you go there. Tony gets up and now she is activated, honey. And she ain't gonna do nothing, but she trying to shut it down. She didn't got mad. You didn't brought up her man, my man. And it was low, very low brow for Tamar. Trina had to get up and get in between them, but Tony Michelle had plenty of time to mollywop Tamar. If she wanted to beat the mess out of Tamar, she had plenty of time. But what did Trina say? She said Tamar is bigger than Tony. That's like a Rottweiler beating up a Yorkie. So Trina gets in between Tony and Tamar. Now, I don't know if y'all was watching the same show that I was watching because everybody's talking about Tamar. What did Tamar do? Pull Trina's wig and kicked her? But I saw, and then Tawanda go defend Trina. How can she hit you or push you when her back was to you? She got in the middle of them, and I saw Trina's hand touch Tamar in the middle and gave her a little pushback. Not a lot of push, but a little pushback. And that's why Tamar can say, don't put your hands on me. Because she put her hands on her. Don't put your hands on me because you put your hands on her. Trina, you did move Tamar with your hand. It wasn't a push, but it was a push back. Tony Michelle, you had plenty of time to put all your hands and feet on Tamar. You wasn't going to do it. You don't have the strength. Because remember, Tamar told you last week to get you some strength and go get you some muscles. So Tamar kicks Trina. We didn't see it. They had to demonstrate and pull her wig. And we did kind of see Trina grabbing her wig, but whatever. And then Tamar admitted to doing it. So Tawanda goes up to Tony Michelle. I think she went back to Tony Braxton then. And she's like, let's call the police. Let's press charges and call the police. And it's like, what? On your sister? And Tony Braxton was like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, no, I'm just going to gather. I'm going to leave. How about that? Let me get up out of here. Because it's just too much, So Tamar and Tawanda go back and forth and back again, right? And then Tamar is just like, she says they have gaslit her and tried to shut her business down. Now, I agree with the gaslighting and all of this and all of that, but I go slow because of all these T's. Trina, Tony, Tawanda, Tamar, a cease and a desist letter does not shut your business down. A cease and a desist letter is a warning to tell you to shut up. Whatever the matter is and the person you're talking about, they just want you to stop talking. And that's it. It's just a little warning before, some other charges are pressed if you keep talking. People don't want you disparaging their character. Defamation. So that is to get you to take down whatever it is you had on the internet talking about this person, take it down. You better go ask Tasha K. How she ignored the cease and desist and got in a whole bunch of trouble. Yeah, you have to start your lawsuit with the cease and desist. It has no effect on your businesses, honey. You can still have your production company. You can still make your albums, do your podcast, do your host of a Caught in the Act Double Life. You can still do that. You can still get your money. Just shut up talking about. Don't talk about Ashley and allegedly Gabe. That's it. That's all. So Tamar says Tawanda did sleep with Tony's exes, and that's that on that, and she'll put that on her kids. And that's the end of that. Tawanda was like, check this out. Though you're not gonna put no curse on my children. She get activated. Production, security, they all grab Tawanda. Because Tawanda way taller than Tamar. And I think Tawanda will put the brakes on Tamar. And Tamar, you really don't want to get into a physical altercation with Tawanda, because I believe Tawanda is jealous of your career, your success, and your personality, and how you're received, good and bad and indifferent, right? And I think, she has nothing to lose, and she will put all that aggression, because I told you, she inherited Tracy's aggression for you also, and she won't hurt you. And she will try to do it maliciously. And you got all that work done, honey. You can't get into no fight. your butt done, your chest, your nose, your lips, your hair, you already don't have a hairline. Child, yeah, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. So I believe I'm done with all of that. What you guys think? Did I do good? I tried to go slow, but they just need to grow up and they need to really get to the root of the problem, because their root of the problem, it goes beyond, I believe, Evelyn and maybe the father too. They raised these girls up to do this successful girl group of 5. They went to L.A. Reid and he picked apart the group and he pulled Tony Braxton out of it. Similar to all the others. Eventually they get one. Jackson 5, Destiny's Child, the Supremes. I mean, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. We got Teddy Pendergrass out of that. So there had to have been some kind of shift when you guys get told no, but we just gonna do Tony. And then Evelyn told Tony, like, don't ever forget your sisters. So that was a burden that Tony has had to carry her whole entire life. And this is where her aggression is coming from. And I did say she was gaslighting Tamar, and maybe I should take that back. But maybe not, because there's a lot that we don't see. We only see in an edited version of 42 minutes of their life or whatever. But all the stuff, it goes deep. It goes from the girls doing the Braxtons and Tracy missing her chance with that because she chose marriage and a kid. And, she's been holding that pain, and I don't know why, because the Braxtons didn't do nothing. One song, it's just, then Tony had the crew be the backup singers, everybody except for Tracy, and then Tony fired everybody. Well, Tamar got on because she didn't want to be a doo-wop girl forever, and she would have made herself successful. And if you heard Trina tell Tony, you are more class than this, you are the legend, you are the Grammy Award winner, you are the, you know what I'm saying? And then you got Tamar over here singing to him, you're jealous of me, all this. So, and she won best new artist or whatever. It's just so much, so many layers to peel. And if you're a friend to the show, you remember TD Jake couldn't help him. Iyanla tried to help him. Child, it stems deep. It stems deep. And Miss Evelyn might be the blame. And that's probably why she having health issues, because that stuff is coming to haunt her. Her karma is showing up through these kids. Not that she did anything malicious to them or whatever, but maybe just didn't give them a chance to explore other options and do other things. Like Tawanda, if you have a degree, why are you a trainer just can't go get a job? You're trying to act, trying to produce, trying to do this mixology thing, trying to have a lounge, trying to what else? Trying to sing, have a single. Just why can't y'all just go be regular? Just go be a manager for the city. I mean, why can't you two? Why is the name that you carry? Like, if Tony and Tamar is paying your way, aren't you tired of them getting allowance from your sisters? Woo. Okay, let's move on because I'm ready to wrap this thing on up. Woo. Let me take a little. I'll be back. I'm gonna take a little 2-second break. So in the next scene, Tawanda tells Trina she does not want Tamar at her bridal shower. Why? Because she's unpredictable. Tamar is unpredictable and she just does not want that negative energy at her shower. And I hate that for them because Tamar is a vibe. Y'all, they would have had so much fun. See, Tawanda, you over there hating. I'm just going to use Tamar's words, jealous. You could have an over-the-top shower. Just all the bells and more whistles, but you so mad, you over here doing regular, your shower look like something I could pull off. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just hate this for these girls. So anyway, she's negative energy. So Tony is in Miami. She's rehearsing for her show. And child, this is when we learn of Angie Stone's fatal accident. Whew. So the bond that Tony and Angie had, they shared the same musical director. That guy that's on the stage looking for the microphones, that's the musical director. Normally they're the the organ player, keyboard player. And sometimes they are the drummer, but most of the times they're the keyboard player. So anyway, they share the MD, backup singers, the techs, everything, right? And so she's talking on the phone and she's saying, like, the backup singers, they have minor injuries. And so she's like, I could understand if they can't make the show because, they're shocked, going through a little trauma right now, right? And mourning, just all the things. So Tawanda's shower is the day before the Miami show, but Tony went down there to rehearse. And I guess she was supposed to leave, come back to Atlanta for the shower, and then go back the next day for the show. But now that she got to make these changes to her set with these backup singers and all that, she's not going to be able to make the shower. Child. So Tony calls Tawanda with that thing that she does all the time. I'm sure Tony been doing this to these girls for years. And it's just, I get it, Tony. You have to work. This is your passion. This is how you make your money. This is how you take care of them. And it might be their fault. Maybe you got to share your money with everybody, take care of everybody. So you got to work. I don't know. But it just seems like, Tony, you be using stuff to get out of stuff. In my opinion, if you know what I mean, y'all, you be using that disease to get out of doing stuff. You get out of, and it's your right. If you don't want to be around the toxicity, you like, I gotta work, I gotta work, I gotta work. And you kind of got to get it as you get it, because if you don't work, you don't eat. And I understand that. So Tony calls Tawanda and tells her she won't be able to make it to her Bridgerton bridal shower. And Tawanda says she's sad. Trina there crying. And Tawanda tells Tony that she doesn't feel good, and then she's wondering, like, why didn't Tony block this weekend out 8 months ago? 8 months ago. Tony, you should not have accepted this gig, girl. I'm like, Tony, you're giving selfish gaslighting, and Tony do what she want to do, honey. She dedicated to her career, child. Because I know she better be at the Oakland Coliseum on January 28th next year with Boys to Men and New Edition, honey. She better be there. So Tamar is doing the single release photo shoot. She got this convertible white Lamborghini. She got the makeup. She got the outfit on. She's going to drop a new EP this summer. I don't know if that was supposed to be this past summer. I'm sure it was. Did we get it? I don't think we did. And OG wants to talk to Tamar about the fight she had with her sisters. Now, she called him something else. She called him Lucius. So I'm like, well, what is his name? But anyway, he's the showrunner. So Tamar explains, that she brought Ashley on her platform to support her and to help her heal, and so she can tell her story. And when she told this to the sisters, I guess the family, they got upset and stopped talking to Tamar. And Tamar was telling him, I was very clear that I did not want to come back on this show as the old Tamar. Last season on the Braxtons, Tamar was a friend of. Now she's a full castmate, but she didn't really, you remember Tamar didn't want to do reality anymore, but she's doing it. Queen's Court and calling the act. But anyway, Tamar says Tawanda, bringing up old stuff that happened back in 1995. And she's like, when did we fall out? Like, when did we fall out? But if you remember, Tawanda said, I think we all just tired, tired of Tamar. And in Tamar's defense, Tamar might be tired of you too. You stealing her money, borrowing a whole bunch of money, ain't paid her back, and then how you gonna take some money from your sister, then file bankruptcy and put her as a creditor so you don't have to pay her back? Tawana, you being a low down dirty blank, blank, blank. And Tamar was like, I didn't even want to do the show. And she said, I know they don't like me. So no lies told there. So Tawanda's getting ready for her shower. Ugh. I would just hate to be a part of her bride tribe and she just over here moping about Tony and Tamar. And I'm here, dedicating these 8 months of my life for your wedding and money and clothes and appointments and gotta wears and and Bridgerton bridal. And you don't appreciate my presence, girl. I'm on out of here. I'll just be a guest. I have no problem, honey, being a guest. Okay. So, which was a nice point. Pretty much, Tawanda is reminiscing about Tracy. Her and Trina are just saying how if she was here, it would be funny. They would be having a good time because let's face it, Trina and Tawanda are boring. They're boring. Tracy and Tamar was the whole vibe, honey. And she said that Tony's not coming. And one of the girls asked, was Tamar coming to the bridal shower? And Tawanda gave her a lot of silence and then asked for some champagne. And the friend, I think it was a cousin, she was like, oh, I got my answer there. Okay. So she dedicated or said that they're going to try, amp her up and, make it better for her since she's sad that her sister has passed. She don't get along with one and one can't come. Very disappointing, Tony, because you were supposed to throw the shower. Oh, gosh. So Tawanda arrives to her shower before the ladies of honor get there, and she is now stressing about where they are. They left 45 minutes before me. Where could they be? Where did they go? And I was like, oh, they're going to come and do something real special for her. And only one showed up was Trina, and she told us she had to stop at the house and go check in with Vaughn and make sure he was eating right and taking his medication because he got congestive heart failure. And she hasn't even told Tawanda this news. She's keeping it from her so she don't be all, add another layer to her disappointment and her sadness. But how are y'all so close that you? Trina, who do you run to? Who have you not told Evelyn either? Tony, Tamar, like you can't hold that in too, ma'am. Well, besties, that was the end of the episode. I didn't talk too much. I'm on 38 minutes of this. Okay, besties, do me a solid. Share, comment, like, subscribe, notification bell. And I'll be back with another recap. It will be Bell Collective. Bye, besties.